Hi guys, it's Josh Holiday here, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to beat anxiety, build confidence, and find lasting happiness in your life. Now, if you're here watching this video, you may have already tried to overcome your anxiety and build confidence. You may have tried the healthy lifestyle. You may have even tried supplements, naturopathy. Maybe you've tried some therapy. Maybe you've tried psychology. Maybe you've tried breath work. Maybe you've tried meditation, right? You may have tried a whole bunch of stuff to overcome your anxiety and build your confidence, build your self-confidence. And if it hasn't worked and you're here, then I'm going to show you how I've helped 200 business owners and business professionals actually beat anxiety for good, build their confidence, and find that lasting happiness. And that's really going to lead to a life where you feel like you're actually in alignment with who you want to be. Now, I'm going to share with you my story. I'm going to share with you some proof and some testimonials, some case studies from my clients. I'm going to walk you through our methods and processes. I've got a whole presentation that I'm going to show you here, which should take about 20 minutes. But firstly, I just wanted to introduce myself. So if you don't know me, my name's Josh Holiday. I'm a no bullshit meditation teacher and mindset coach. I've been doing this work with clients for about 5 years now, and personally on my own journey for nearly 15 years. So without further ado, let's just get into it. I want to show you guys what I've got to share with you here today, because I'm really confident that this could be the turning point for you. So like I said, how I've helped 200 plus business owners and professionals beat anxiety, build confidence, and find alignment in their life. In this video, we're going to walk through proof and testimonials. I'm going to tell you who this is for and who it's not for. I'm going to walk you through my personal story. We're going to talk about what actually is anxiety, because there's some nuances to it which we do need to explain. I'm going to walk you through our method and our process, and then I'm going to finally talk about how to work with me. So if you're wanting more help with this stuff, at the end of this video, I will talk you through how you can work with me. So stick around till the end, because we've got a lot of good stuff here, right? One of the things that people with mental health problems really struggle with can be focus and concentration, right? So I'm just going to urge you to stick with this, like watch this video till the end, right? If you're one of the rare people who actually will watch this video to the end, then you're going to have a lot more success with this program and with this stuff that I can teach you, right? If you can't even sit through one video, then you're not really going to have much luck with improving yourself. So let's just dive into the proof and the testimonials first, so that you guys can get a bit of an idea of like the people that I've worked with. You can pause this video and just read these for yourself if you want. These are all screenshots of Google reviews. So you can see 5-star review from Amanda. This guy here in the middle is Eddie. This is Leon over to the right here. You've got M, you've got Ryan. All of these people are business professionals or business owners, right? M is an audiometrist. Ryan is a lawyer. You've got Antoinette. She works in sales, like the head of sales for a corporation. Rebecca, she runs her own business in beauty therapy. James is an electrical engineer. Tim is a bricklaying business owner. Molly is also a business owner. She runs self-development business, breathwork, and yeah, meditation, those kinds of things. So, like I said, if you want to screenshot them, you can just go on, you can go and read that. You can go and screenshot or pause and just read those testimonials back. Or you can just type in Mind Launch on Google. So if you actually just want to go and read these that haven't been screenshotted, you just go to Google and you just type in Mind Launch, and my website will come up, my business page will come up, all the reviews will come up on there. Now let's go into who this is not for, right? Because this is actually not for everyone. There's a couple of different ways that you can deal with anxiety. And for a large percent of the population, they want the traditional approach. So that traditional approach is like go to your GP, get a mental health plan, start taking medication, get referred to a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor, and you end up stuck in that kind of cycle. Now, this is actually not for people who want that approach, right? People who want that approach are generally going with that because either A, it's just all that they know, or B, that there's some false sense of safety that they get from going down that route because it's like the traditional or normal route. And so it seems like the safer route. However, in my experience, that route just really doesn't work. Like, I don't hear many success stories of people who have overcome their anxiety or mental health issues by going down that route. And the version of success is different as well, because usually people just get addicted to medication and they end up relying on the medication for the rest of their life, or they go to talk to their psychologist for the next 5 or 10 years whilst also getting addicted to medication. Now, if that's your version of success, then you can go down that path, but that's not my version of success. My version of success is you find freedom from your anxiety, you learn how to control your mind, and you learn how to control your emotions, right? So this is not for people who want that safe, traditional, or perceived safe traditional route of like doctors, medications, therapists, counselors, all that kind of stuff. You know, like I said, that can provide some temporary relief. However, I don't see it as a long-term solution. It's not for people who just want a quick fix and who just want to avoid the real issue and just want some coddling or some reassurance for someone to tell you that it's all going to be okay. That's not what this is about. That's not what I'm about. And this is really not a program for people who want that kind of approach. So who this is for people who have an open mind and want to build their self-confidence, who are ready to take control of their thoughts and their emotions and practice discipline, new routines, and accountability. It's for people who want to implement new habits and confront the real issues. So you really want a holistic approach to change and a natural approach to change. If that's you, this program will work well for you. You have to have an open mind though, right? You have to be willing to lean in to, you know, discomfort, because that's really what's going to help you overcome your anxiety. So I'm just going to share with you guys a little teaching really quick about how to improve your self-worth and how to actually change, because this also highlights another issue, which is like why people don't change. And usually people don't change because they have low self-worth and they stay stuck in this like revolving pattern or this recurring pattern, this like anxious loop where they just go around and round and round again, right? And this is how that happens. Let's say you've got person A over here and person A decides to do something, right? They go, okay, I'm going to do something different. So they make a commitment and then they start taking some action. And then what happens is they hit a barrier. And when they hit the barrier, what happens then is they start making excuses. They start justifying why they can't do the thing or why life isn't fair. They start blaming others. They start complaining. They are irresponsible, and they just come up with all of the reasons in the world why they just can't get over that barrier, right? And what happens then is they go back to square one. And so this is really what drives this stuckness and this low self-worth. If you have low self-worth and you keep doing this, your self-worth will not get any better. If you keep making excuses, you keep justifying, you keep blaming, you keep complaining, if you keep making up all the reasons why you can't do the thing, why you can't overcome the challenge, then you're just going to stay stuck and you're going to have low self-worth, and it'll either just be a revolving loop, an anxious loop, a recurring pattern, or you might even get worse. So you might even devolve because it's just the same thing over and over again, and it'll be like death by 1,000 cuts. You'll just get worse, right? Now, there is an alternative to this, and let me show you what that is. Here's how you develop high self-worth. Here's how you actually change and evolve. Person A over here makes the commitment, starts taking action, still hits the barrier, because there will always be barriers. There will always be challenges, right? Now, the difference is to develop high self-worth and to actually change your life, you have to jump up and over the barrier. And the way that you jump up and over is you develop courage. You develop courage. So the barrier is always going to be there and it's always going to feel uncomfortable. But you have to learn how to be courageous in the face of your challenges. And then that's how you can overcome them. And on the other side of your challenges is the growth and achievement. So most people just hit challenges and then they just have resistance to their challenges and they don't want to overcome the challenges and they don't have any courage and they just stay in excuses and blaming and all the reasons why it's not going to work and all the reasons why they can't overcome it, and they stay stuck. If you're going to work with me, you're going to have courage. I'm going to invite you into courage. And this is essentially to say you've got to back yourself. right? You've got to back yourself and you've got to have courage and you've got to overcome your challenges, right? That means taking risks, right? It means leaning in. And on the other side of that, you have growth and achievement. This is how you change and how you evolve. Let me just talk to you a little bit about my personal story so you guys know, where I've come from and what I'm about, and how I kind of got into this line of work and why you should trust me in the first place, right? So just going to rewind it back to 2011, right? I finished school in 2011, and at that time I was about 17 years old, and I was very anxious. I was overthinking a lot, and I struggled with my mental health. At the point, I knew I had more potential, but I didn't know what that was because I didn't really know who I was. I just didn't want to go on medication. So I was really struggling with feeling disconnected from myself and feeling quite anxious and overthinking and all these kinds of things. And I was actually scared of losing control of my own mind. And I didn't want to go on medication. I just really didn't want to go down that route. Both my parents are on medication for mental health issues, and I just didn't want to go down that route. So I did some research and figured out what else I could do. And when I was 17 years old, I started meditating. Now you can see here's a picture of me surfing. This is on the Gold Coast. When I was about 17, I also taught myself to surf. So I actually left my hometown. I grew up in a city in Australia called Brisbane, and I was surrounded by an environment that wasn't very productive for me. So I left my home in Brisbane and I moved down to the Gold Coast. I taught myself to surf because I wanted to do that, and I started meditation. So I tried to carve out a new path for myself. That was all the way back in 2011, 17 years old. That's really when my journey started, right? But that was not the end of the journey, because fast forward to 2018, and I had been meditating for about 7 years. And I had made some significant progress with my mental health. However, I was still struggling with drinking. As you can see here, this is me at a festival when I was, a mess, basically. We have alcohol addiction in my family, and I personally struggled with that in my early 20s. So I was meditating and I felt more in control of my mind. However, I was still struggling with drinking and addictive behaviors. I had some unresolved trauma. At this point, just after this, I had a relationship breakdown, and I really hit rock bottom and felt hopeless. So not long after this picture was taken, I hit a really deep state of depression. And yeah, it looks like I was having fun, right? Crazy. I was dressed as a fairy at a festival, and yeah, it looks like I was having fun, and in the moment I probably was having fun, but this was not a very positive time in my life, and it really led me to feeling quite depressed and hopeless. And this was really I was probably 24 years old, 23 or 24. There was still a deep part of me that wanted to fulfill my potential and find my purpose in life. I still felt like I hadn't found that yet. And so not long after this photo was taken, I started a year of sobriety. I said to myself, I'm going sober for a year. And really that was in 2009 when I went sober for the year, and I totally reset my life. So 2019, I went sober. I got a lot clearer on who I wanted to be and, what was actually in alignment with me. And I started to make some decisions and change my career path and move away again to a different place. I went down to Sydney, and I lived there for a few years, started to, do some work with a non-profit group, and I was working in environmental activism for a little while, and I was trying to save the world through that means. I lived on a farm for a bit. As you can see, I started to do some public speaking when I was working in environmentalism. And so I just started to go on this kind of more fulfilling path. And then in 2021, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I realized that there was a big problem with stress and anxiety in the world. And I also realized that I had a unique skill set with meditation. I had been practicing for 10 years at this point. So I'd been practicing meditation for 10 years at this point. I had been sober for a few years, and I had an opportunity to become a meditation teacher. So I became a meditation teacher. And then I started teaching and coaching stressed out and anxious business professionals. This photo in the middle here is a photo of one of the first classes I ever taught at the start of 2021. And this is really when my business started, when I started to teach meditation. And not long after that, I started coaching people. And this was really a pivotal point in my journey as well. Now, fast forward 22, 23, I've found my purpose in life. Like I really feel like the work I'm doing now is my purpose. And like I said, I've helped a couple of hundred people at this point, probably more than that, definitely more than that. I also got married. I found a partner. We got married. We got pregnant. We had a child, as you can see in this photo. This is my wife, Missy, and my baby girl, Coco. And I felt a lot of pressure to grow the business and provide for my new family in these years, 2022, 2023. So this was very early in the business. Also, very early in my relationship, my marriage, my family. And not my mum, my wife is a stay-at-home mum. And so I'm the sole income provider for the family. And so building the new business, being the sole income provider, I felt a lot of pressure to make it work, right? And so I was really learning to manage my business and my marriage during this time. And I was also working through some of my unresolved childhood trauma around relationships, right? So I did a lot of healing work during these years, which leads us to now, right? Well, we're at the end of 2024 now. If you're watching this video, it might even be 2025. But 2024 has really been the year for me where I've grown a lot. I've really found alignment. I'm confident in my purpose. I've helped hundreds of people now. We have a happy family. We have our second child on the way right now. My clients are all thriving and successful. We're having a lot of results in the community. The community is growing. People are getting really, really good results with our program. And I personally feel like I'm in mind, body, and spirit alignment. I'm sober, I'm clean, I'm clear, I'm doing purposeful work. I feel very confident in the work that I'm doing. My marriage is going really well, and things are just going really well for myself and my clients in the business, right? So that's a bit of a background story about me, but let's just talk about what is anxiety, right? Now, anxiety is really a mental, physical, and emotional experience that you can have that is driven by fear. And anxiety can show up in your life through overthinking, through negative thoughts, through constant doubt and worry. And it can also create physical symptoms like pain in the body. I've had clients with pain behind the eyes, shortness of breath, elevated heart rate. And it can make you feel in a state of panic, as if the world is caving in on you. And that can lead to irrational behaviors and really undesirable outcomes. If you've got anxiety, it's likely that you just feel heightened, and it's really limiting your life in one way or another. Maybe you can't go and do the things that you want to do. You're feeling limited in your relationships, in your work, in your environment. There's your social life, where you can travel, what you can do. And yeah, it can be a very personal experience that's very internal. And it can also start to affect the external world and the way that you show up in the world. So in more severe cases, it leads to panic attacks, OCDs, OCD, and sometimes even more kind of like severe mental health issues, right? So what we want to do is we want to obviously learn how to overcome it. But first, we need to understand what it is. And that's it. It's a mental, physical, and emotional response, right? Driven by fear. And it shows up in your body and in your mind. And really, there's a specific way that we like to approach this anxiety, right? And we take a holistic approach to finding freedom from anxiety because, like I said, it's a mental, physical, and emotional experience. So it's not just a mental health issue. People think anxiety is just a mental health issue. It's not just a mental health issue. It's a mental, emotional, and physical experience that you have, right? So here's our methods and processes for finding freedom from anxiety in a holistic way. We work on reducing stress and regulating the nervous system, changing the belief systems and negative thought patterns, healing unresolved emotional issues from the past, developing courage and self-acceptance, practicing non-resistance and letting go, learning how to lean in and build confidence, and also we find clarity and alignment in your life. Now, as you can see, this is a very holistic approach. When we reduce stress and regulate the nervous system, right, that's usually happening in the body. It's a physical thing, regulating the nervous system, reducing the stress. Changing belief systems, that's a mental thing, right? Healing unresolved emotional issues, that's an emotional thing. Courage and self-acceptance, right? Non-resistance and letting go. These are all very holistic approaches to overcoming the anxiety. And obviously finding clarity and alignment in your life is also a very unique way of looking at it, because I really believe that people feel anxiety when they are not on the right path, right? There's obviously nuances around the nervous system, emotional trauma, belief systems, all of that stuff, stress, environmental stress, physiological stress, all of that. However, another thing that I've noticed from working with over 200 clients is that people who are experiencing anxiety are not living in alignment with who they actually want to be. And so that's a very unique approach that we look at. So let's go a little bit deeper. I'm going to walk you through a bit more of the fundamentals in how we look at this, right? And so this is a bit of a deep dive, but I just wanted to show you guys that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff. So my belief system and really my framework is that we have a mind, we have a body, and we have a spirit, right? Humans have mind, body, spirit. Right. That's really not up for debate when you're working with me. You know, I'm not dogmatic in any kind of religious or spiritual views. However, my perspective is that we have a mind, we have a body, and we have a spirit, right? So the spirit comes first in my perspective, and the spirit is really like your consciousness or your awareness. That's the first primary thing that you have. If you didn't have your consciousness and you didn't have your awareness, then you wouldn't be able to experience anxiety. You wouldn't be able to experience any thoughts or any beliefs or any emotions or any life. If you didn't have your consciousness or your awareness, right, then you wouldn't be able to experience life. And really, to break it down, our consciousness and our awareness is really our senses and our perception. So we can see, we can hear, we can feel, we can touch. And this is the way that we take on information and experience from our environment. But if we didn't have that, then capiche, nothing else would be there. So this is the primary thing, and this is important, and I'll explain why in a second. So you're going to want to follow along for this because this is very important stuff. The point here I'm making is that your consciousness and your awareness is primary. Now, secondary is your thoughts and beliefs. So what happens is you experience life through your awareness, and then you start to create thoughts and beliefs and stories about what it means to be alive or what it means to be you, right? What it means to be in the environment that you're in, right? But that's a secondary thing that happens. The first thing is you're conscious and you're aware of what's happening. You perceive the world. You take on the information and the experiences. The second thing is you create stories about them. You create meaning, you create beliefs, you create thoughts about what it means to be in the world, right? And these thoughts and these stories really confirm or disconfirm our experience. So it's like, yeah, that's true, that's not true, right? And so this can be unconscious or it can be conscious. So you can be aware of these thoughts and stories, or you could be unaware of them. But let me tell you right now that they really drive the experience that you have. And they're also made up of your memories and your anti-memories. But remember that this is secondary and it's also changeable. What's not changeable is your awareness. Your awareness is ever present whilst you're alive. All right? Your thoughts and your beliefs and your stories, they are changeable. They can change. And depending on what you believe or what thoughts you have in your mind, that will start to affect your physiology, your hormones, the chemicals in your body. And this is through a process which is known as epigenetics, right? Epi meaning above, genetics, the gene. So above the gene. So your thoughts and your beliefs and your stories actually affect your physiology, your chemicals in your body and your hormones, right? And it also affects your nervous system. If you think a fearful thought, your nervous system's going to respond with the fight, flight, or freeze, right? If you think a happy thought, you know, or a loving thought, your body is most likely going to be like in this resting mode, right? So your thoughts will start to affect your body. Your mind affects your body, right? And so we have this overarching awareness, and then we create stories about things, and then those stories affect how we feel in our bodies, right? In our body, which leads to different emotions and feelings. And then what we do with our emotions and feelings is we either suppress them, so we try to push them down and resist them. We express them or project them outwardly, sometimes in, you know, harmful ways, or we just accept what we're feeling. We accept our emotions, right? And finally, our emotions will usually lead to actions and behaviors. So if we're really angry, we might act differently. Or if we're really loving, we might act differently. If we're really afraid, we'll probably act differently. If we're really calm, we'll probably act differently. And our actions determine our results and our outcomes. And then a funny thing happens as well, because you might have some questions about this. This is a feedback loop. So this all will then tie back into each other in one large feedback loop, but then individually between all of these, there's micro feedback loops as well. So what do we do about this, right? This is pretty interesting information. We work on this. So we work on your awareness in Mind Launch with my coaching, my mindset coaching for helping people with anxiety, building confidence, right? Finding lasting happiness. We work on this. We work on developing your consciousness or developing a higher level of self-awareness, right? And we also work on this, changing your thoughts and your beliefs and your stories and your meaning, which eventually changes your chemicals and your hormones and your physiology and your emotions and your feelings and your actions and behaviors, which will lead to different results and outcomes. So we take a top-down approach, right? We work on this and this to change this and this and this. And that's how we overcome anxiety at a very high level. Now, obviously, there's nuances in the program, in the coaching program. You know, we have specific lessons and modules based on each of these different levels and approaches, right? But this is just a very high level overview of how it all works. And this is a page full of screenshots of 5-star Google reviews from clients that I've worked with. So if you want to pause this and read it, you can, but just quickly, there's like, you know, a few people here. Best investment for myself, right? Such an epic program, so easy to follow. In summary, this has been an immeasurable positive ROI for self-improvement. Ryan down here again, you know, working with Josh, I felt a lot of anxiety before I started, and then, you know, it really held me back from going after what I wanted and enjoying my day to day. Anyway, you see, you can read these yourself. You get the point, right? It works. I've helped lots of people. And so if you're ready to beat anxiety, build confidence, and find lasting happiness, then here's what to do next. DM me the word details on Instagram, and I will send you a document with details about my coaching program, right? I spend a lot of time on Instagram. I make a lot of videos on YouTube, and then I spend a lot of time in my coaching community, right? And so one of the easiest ways to contact me is through Instagram, right? So DM me the word details on Instagram, and I'll send you a document with details about my coaching program. If you want to learn more, you can also just type in www.mindlaunch.com.au, and you will just go straight to my website where there's instructions, information, ways that you can join the waitlist to work for me. So you can either go straight to my website and you can, you know, go through the information there and join the waitlist directly through the website, or you can just message me personally on Instagram, DM me the word details, and I will send you a document with details about my coaching program. So that's it. If you don't already know my Instagram handle, it's Josh Holiday, and I look forward to hearing from you. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you soon.